Joho, ich bin's wieder. So, spielen ein bisschen weiter. So. Okay, Olya had trouble sleeping ever since we moved in this house. She would toss and turn or curl up into a ball under her blanket. Sometimes she would jump up in the middle of the night and turn on the VCR. Cartoons helped to take her mind off all the troubles we had with the move and our parents. Yikes. Oh, okay. Ist das die Eule, von der sie geredet hat? Ich hoffe nicht. And then Olya said she saw that giant flying monster outside her window. She became obsessed with it. Our parents did everything in their power. They tried every little trick to get rid of those ridiculous fears. Olya refused to sleep alone and didn't believe that the owl was just one of her nightmares. After tonight, I wasn't sure what to make of my sister's words, what to think of it myself. Can nightmares be infectious? Just last night, I couldn't get a wink of sleep and ended up thinking of what to expect in my new school. There were a couple of days left before the beginning of the new term. Ist gerade die Tür aufgegangen. Ich höre was quieken. My imagination drew long, twisted hallways that led to a classroom full of kids. But all the students behind their desk were simply dark figures cut out using a template. Circular holes gaped in the middle of their faces and pairs of eyes blinked inside those holes. It was as if some completely different creatures were looking at me from behind the flat black silhouettes. Their cruel glares, filled with icy sneer, made me shiver from head to toe. Will I survive here? Won't they gang up on me and beat me down, stomp on me with their bloodied shoes? The damn school can burn for all I care. I just wished for anything to happen to it. Doesn't really matter what. I didn't want to get there that badly. I didn't want to see people who are just itching to smack me on the head, trip me up, think of a new offensive name for me, worse than the previous one. I felt like I glanced in war made me an outsider or some sort of a monster. My gaze slid across the drawing hanging on the walls. I couldn't consider myself a great artist, but Olya begged me to hang them. Drawing was the only thing that made me happy as of late. The small circle of friends I had also enjoyed my paintings, and they promised to call me from time to time. Sometimes I imagine Mom picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "You got the wrong number." Or, "Anton is not around." Anton is not around. I imagined my future classmates lying in their beds just like me, listening to the howls of invisible werewolves outside their windows. Maybe my new classmates will like me after all. But who would ever like a boy with thick glasses? I mean, my dad used to wear glasses when he was little, and now he has married to the most beautiful woman on the planet, my mom. The house creaked, pressed by the wind. The condo we used to live in, a 9-floor concrete building, buzzed with the neighbor's drill, mumbled with a TV set from behind the wall, cried like a baby from the big family next door. Our current house, though I can really call it new, was completely different. It was silent and easygoing during the day. Its shadows lay dormant in the corners, on the closet cobweb and under the stairs. but they all woke up during the night. Something was watching me from every corner, almost as if the old photos of my deceased family with their ashen eyes were hanging on the walls in place of my drawings. The floor was squeaking, rusty drains were moaning, the attic was occupied by noisy drafts. One could think the house was performing some sort of demonic melody. And then I realized I was, in fact, hearing music. It was already playing for a good while. Somewhere at the edge of my perception, I could hear a flute. It was mixed in with the sound of the wind, of the creaking old house, and my thoughts too. I stood up and rushed to the window. I wanted to reassure myself that this music was nothing more than a product of my imagination. It's not like someone is playing in there amidst the cold, snowy night, right? Open. Okay, öffnen wir. Wow. Das ist ja cool. Gott, das sieht schön aus. Someone was dancing in the field. Black silhouettes I could barely make out, with the dark forest as their backdrop. Das ist irgendwie ein Bär, ein Fuchs, ein Wolf. Keine Ahnung, was das da sein könnte, was da steht. Werden wir vielleicht noch sehen. They jumped around. A basket in moonlight bumped into piles of snow, rolled around and crawled on all fours. Stories about wolves playing under the moon came to mind, but these were clearly not wolves. They stood upright at times, circled around holding hands and wiped up snow, disappearing into the shadows for a brief moment and then coming back. Something bizarre was going on. Shadows dancing in the starless abyss made my imagination go wild, making me anxious at the same time. Suddenly the music had stopped. The dancing shadows froze in place and, I could swear, pierced me with their eyes. One of the silhouettes immediately parted from the bizarre shadow carnival and sprinted across the field with giant leaps. The fuck? Oh god. It glided on squeaky snow without leaving any prints until it was devoured by the pitch black shadow of my house, which became even darker and thicker. My heart was jumping around like a bird inside a cage. I shut the curtains with a swift motion and stepped back towards my bed. They saw me. A freezing torrent of fear washed over me. I stood in the middle of a perfectly dark room, and listened to some unwanted guest move and scrape around looking for an entrance. The sound moved to the right, then circled around the house. Now my guest should be at the front door. I jumped onto the bed and covered myself with the blanket as if it could protect me. The shackle of fear locked my muscles. I remembered the funeral, my grandma laying there, hands crossed on her chest, her facial features sharp like that of a tin doll. Ants running up and down the legs of chairs that held my grandma's casket. I imagined those little creatures climb up her head and pulling up her eyelids with their tiny legs. Then her wrinkly eyeballs would once again move inside their sockets and she'd be able to see her grandchildren. I was chanting the spell she taught me throughout the whole procedure. And now, laying under the blanket and listening to squeaks and howls, I was repeating the same words. On the island of Buyan, underneath underneath the blamish sun, in the sea of colour blue, stands a cabin made of wood. There lay lard and ashen hair, for the spawn from devil's lair, to feast and always leave alone God's faithful servant named Anton. Evil leaves this house must, ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Bizarre sounds had disappeared. I cautiously peeked out from under the blanket and saw curtains waving around like a hangman. And then the night doused me with a new portion of bowling terror. The sound scratched at my eardrums. In reality, something or someone were scratching at the front door, hurriedly clawing at wood, demanding to be let in. The door was shut. Dad had become very cautious recently, so he installed a sturdy lock. I remember him staring at the forest intensely as he was looking for someone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I hogged my knees, placing my chin between them, and drilled the door with my eyes. It was so flimsy and weak before the might of darkness. Was ist im Haus? And then the doorknob twitched slightly. Then it turned halfway, once, twice, as if the person who tried to enter had no hands. The doorknob tilted once more and then started clicking violently. My jaw cramped from fear. My wet fingers clutched the blanket. The door creaked and opened. The wind taunted me, moaning inside the tin drains. Now you see. The door was wide open. The darkness writhed inside the carnival's mouth of a doorway. Tony. It was as if the night itself was calling out to me, flapping its black wings, squeaking with rusty hings. I was trembling, ensnared by the web of darkness that hung in the corners of my room, waiting for the one who waved it to come out of the gaping black hole. Tony. My abdomen tightened and my chest rose up, ready to exhale a desperate scream. But before I was able to do anything, the darkness asked me, Tony, you asleep? My sister's pale face blurred from the thick shadows. I almost screamed from relief. Olya, I'm not sleeping. Did something happen? Olya frowned and stuck out her lower lip, a clear sign that she was about to cry. It's there again, staring at me. Shoo her away, Tony, please. I'm so scared. The fear that was tormenting me just a minute ago crawled away and hid somewhere in my stomach. I needed to calm Olya down. It was just a dream, silly. Don't be scared. Dreams don't bite. No one's going to harm you. Olya sobbed. She was trying her best to believe me, but was I sure myself? I have an idea. Let's go to your room and watch the video Sleeping Beauty, for example. Entschuldigung. You like that cartoon, don't you? Why does the Sleeping Beauty have a prince and I have this scary bird? That question took me by surprise. All right, let's watch Cinderella. My thought became tangled, fuzzy. What was that? What studied me with its eyes while dancing feverishly under the moon? The darkness was clinging to the window, and it couldn't be fooled by Grandma's old chants. It couldn't be satisfied with a feast of layered and long ashen hair. Tony, you coming? Yes, just a moment. The fuck? Shit, der war gut. Hui. Guter Jumpscare. Okay. Dann speichere ich hier mal und ja, würde sagen, das war's erst mal. Bye bye.